So, this video is about going home. Sad. At the end of the cruise, we will be docked in Strasbourg. Now, I cannot give you the exact time that we will arrive in Strasbourg at this point because, as I mentioned in the beginning, we go through a series of locks. And one of the most important locks at the end of the cruise lies between Speyer and Strasbourg. The timing that is assigned to our ship to go through that lock depends on exactly what time we get to Strasbourg for disembarkation. As a result, I have told everybody to plan that they will not be able to leave the ship before 9 a.m. Now, we might be docked at 6 a.m. You don't know. However, the official disembarkation time is 9 a.m., so think that you will be on the ship at least until 9 a.m. For those of you that are on my post-cruise trip, you are going to have it very simple. You're going to follow the luggage instructions that the cruise manager is going to give everybody the day before. They're going to hand out colored luggage tags, which you'll put on your bags. You'll put your bags out at the time that the cruise manager tells you to. The staff will come along, they'll gather your bags, they'll bring them out, they'll have them outside the ship near our bus, and at a particular time, probably around 8:45, they will tell you, one person per cabin, go out and identify your bags. Make sure that the bags you put out are there, and then they're going to load your bag onto our bus for our post-cruise trip. Now, as of today, there are 40 people on my post-cruise land tour. Our bus should be comfortable for 40 people, making sure that we all follow the baggage rules. I have a feeling at the end of the trip, you're going to have a lot of smaller bags and things. We will make it work, but that's another reason not to overpack. We will depart the ship somewhere between 9 and 9:15. And I've added something special that was not in the original sign up. We are going to go to a very pretty town called Colmar. We're going to have some free time in Colmar. You'll be able to go through the town. The Christmas market should be open in the morning, some of the stands, but the town itself is really beautiful, and you'll have some time to do a little bit of shopping, a little bit of relaxing, and then we're going to go on to the fairy tale village of Rickeveer. I have a very special lunch planned there. You're going to do some wine tasting with your lunch. Then you're going to have free time in Rickeveer, which is this lovely little town. It's a wine village in France. It's considered one of the most beautiful villages in France. It's used very often in movies. It is one of the inspirations for the village in Beauty and the Beast. So you can walk through and sing Little Town. And we'll spend time there. You'll have free time to enjoy the town and the market as you like. It doesn't have a very big market. The whole town is decorated, and all the shops and everything kind of make it into one great big Christmas market. But it's a very special place. We'll spend the afternoon there, and then we will leave to go to our hotel. Now, we will not be getting to our hotel till around 6 p.m., so be ready for a long day on that first day of my post package. Once we get to the hotel and check in, you're going to be free for the evening. Now, we are going to be staying at a hotel right across from the train station, and it was the Le Grand Hotel. And during the Advent season, Strasbourg closes off the streets in the city ring of the old city from 11 a.m. until late into the evening. Once the Christmas market is closed, most of the streets in Strasbourg, old Strasbourg, are closed to traffic. This is for safety. It's because of the crowds. And keep in mind that if you want to go to the Christmas market or anywhere around Strasbourg during those times from 11 a.m. until late into the evening, you have to walk. So our hotel is a 10-minute walk, and it's a straight line down to the middle area of Strasbourg, the heart of their Christmas market. Now, the thing about Strasbourg's Christmas market is it's really spread out over several different squares of the city. So it's one of those areas where you can wander through the city and you'll come across markets on medium-sized square. The main heart of the Christmas market, of course, is at the cathedral. But Strasbourg is famous for all of the decorated streets. So you're going to want to have time to just wander around and enjoy the atmosphere. There's no real special perfect place to be other than what your heart kind of, where it guides you. So you'll have that evening free to do that. Dinner is on your own, but you can either go to a lovely Strasbourg restaurant, you can pick at delicious food along the way. It will be up to you. The next day, after breakfast, we're going to have a Strasbourg city tour. I'm working with 2 or 3 different locals. I still haven't decided exactly which tour option that we're going to do in Strasbourg because I want it to be a little bit fun, a little bit more than just a typical street tour. We'll have that in the morning, and then you'll have the whole afternoon again to enjoy Strasbourg, and the evening to enjoy the markets. And Strasbourg is the culinary heart of Alsace-Lorraine, so you will have some amazing food to choose from for your dinners. Now, on the morning of the 16th, 95% of you on my post tour are going to be flying home from Frankfurt. Because our hotel is right across the street from the main train station, it's also the main bus area of the city. Some of you have chosen to buy tickets for the Flixbus, which you can just go right outside the hotel, go over to the bus stop, and take the bus directly from there to the Frankfurt airport. Some of you want to take the train, and you'll be able to just walk across the street, get on the high-speed train, and go from Strasbourg to Frankfurt airport. Now, keep in mind, as you're looking at tickets, the train there's 2 different train routes. There's from Strasbourg main station to Frankfurt main station, and there's Strasbourg main station to Frankfurt airport. Trains that go from Strasbourg main station to the Frankfurt main station, you then have to change trains, go down to the S-Bahn, and take the S-Bahn to the airport. And that adds 30 minutes of transfer time and train time from the Frankfurt main station to the airport. So if you're looking at tickets and the timing, and you like the pricing and the timing of a train that goes from Strasbourg main station to Frankfurt main station, that's all fine. Just make sure that you factor in that extra half hour to reach the airport. Now, there are another number of you that have been kind of holding back a little bit on making a decision to see how many other people will need to go to the Frankfurt airport so that you can share a van. I've been assembling that list. A lot of you were really, really good at getting in your answers to the forms that I sent out in July. And some of you have kind of drag your feet, and for some of you I still don't have an answer. So it's now October 11th, so I am going to be releasing the list of names of people who might want to share a van. A bus ticket from Strasbourg to the Frankfurt airport starts at around 15 euros a person. A train ticket from Strasbourg to Frankfurt airport can run anywhere from 30 to 70 euros per person, and maybe even a little bit higher. And then a private van. If you share a van with, say, 4 people, you're going to be looking at around 100 euros a person. From my point of view, it's worth every penny, because you have someone picking you up at the front door of the hotel, dropping you directly at the airport. You don't have to drag your bags from the hotel to a bus stop or a train station. You don't have to worry about arriving in the Frankfurt long distance train station and walking halfway through the airport and the long distance train station of the airport to reach the terminal. So there are places to save money, and there's some places where I think it's great to treat yourself. That's one of them. Now, it takes approximately 2.5 hours to drive from Strasbourg to Frankfurt Airport. Depending on the time of day, you have to factor in traffic, because if you're going early morning, especially on the 16th, which is a Monday, that's a work day, you're going to have early morning traffic from all those people that live in the Frankfurt suburbs going into the city, and you're going to factor in an extra half an hour to 45 minutes for traffic delays just in case. If you're going in the mid-afternoon, I still always say factor a half an hour for traffic just in case. So if your flight is leaving from Frankfurt 10 a.m. or earlier, I almost recommend that you go to Frankfurt the night before and stay in the Frankfurt Hilton Garden Inn so that you can just easily go and meet that early morning flight. But I did tell people not to book anything before, say, noon or 1 o'clock in order to give yourself time to get to Frankfurt. I'm going to make those lists, send them out. That's going to happen in the next, hopefully with this mail, but within the next week. I'm still sailing. We've been extremely busy over the last months. The good thing is that I do have everything all set up, and I have the majority of people. I was just giving a little leeway for those last folks that hadn't sent in their forms and late signups. I will help you book any transfers from Strasbourg to Frankfurt, and that way it's very comfortable for you. A few of you, for example, Randy, you have in your plane ticket, which is actually from Strasbourg back to New York City, you actually have a Lufthansa bus that's going to take you from Strasbourg directly to the airport as part of your air ticket. So that's a whole different ball game. I believe so far you're the only one who has booked a Nuremberg to home ticket that included that. So it was a really smart thing to do. It makes it very simple because you'll be able to walk over to that bus stop, hand them your luggage, and then be on your way. And we'll even be able to look at it the day before to make sure that you know exactly where to go. That's everything for people that are on my land tour, but I'm sure you've also, those who are getting off the ship on the day of disembarkation on the 14th have also probably heard a few things in there that are interesting to you. So now I want to talk to you folks who do not have a post-trip booked with me. Now, there's two groups of you. There are those who are going to Paris to fly home, and there are those of you who are going to Frankfurt to fly home. Regardless of which day you are doing that, you do again have to factor in that transfer time from Strasbourg to Paris or from Strasbourg to Frankfurt. Some of you are leaving directly on the 14th, and you're going to want to take a taxi from the ship to the Strasbourg train station. Now, Amadeus will offer to book something for you, but I find their transfers to be quite pricey. So we will call and set up a taxi for you. If you would like us to arrange your taxi from the ship to the train station, I want you to send me an email asking me, please book me a taxi, tell me where you wanted to go, and I will work with our local providers to get you a proper taxi, and not one of these expensive transfers through the cruise line. There are folks who will be going on the 14th that will be going to Frankfurt and spending the night in Frankfurt to fly home on the 15th. My suggestion, if you were on my pre-cruise tour, my suggestion is that you leave your bags on the ship, you go into Strasbourg for a few hours, you can take a taxi early to the city, you can walk around the city, and then, they're going to close the roads at 11. You can just walk outside that barrier, get a taxi, and go back to the ship, get your bags, and continue on to Frankfurt. I would say take, a 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock train to Frankfurt, because those of you that are staying in the Frankfurt Hilton Garden Inn, which is right there in the long distance train station of the airport, you're going to come off your train, you're going to go up a series of escalators, and you're in this big hall that we call the Turtle. There's restaurants and bars, and then there are multiple hotels there. There's the Hilton Garden Inn, there's the Hilton, I think there's a Sheraton as well, and then there's all sorts of restaurants there. You're not going to leave that spot, and you're not going to want to leave that spot. There's nowhere to go, and you're just going to want to be able to, drop your bags, get something to eat, go to bed, and wake up the next morning where you can just walk out and go to your terminal. It's a 5-minute walk, completely enclosed. You'll just be walking on the skyways into the terminal to go home the next morning. There's no reason to get there too early. First of all, rooms are never guaranteed before 3 p.m. or they charge you for early check-in. And as you're just going to get there and eat and go to bed, I don't see any reason to be there before 7 or 8 o'clock. So as you're looking at trains from Strasbourg to the Frankfurt long distance train station, keep that in mind. It's also, if you haven't been to Frankfurt and you don't want to deal with going into Strasbourg, keeping in mind, folks, you're not going to see Strasbourg if you don't spend any time, an extra day or night there, or use the 14th to see Strasbourg before going to Frankfurt. But I did have some requests from folks that wanted to go to Frankfurt directly from Strasbourg early so that they could go into town. For those people, if you want to see Frankfurt, I recommend you take the train from Strasbourg main station to Frankfurt main station. Stay at the same hotel that I did my pre-cruise package at, which is the Fleming Selection Hotel Eschenheimer Tor. You take the train to Frankfurt, you take a taxi to the hotel, you drop your bags. If your room is ready, great. You can drop them in your room. If your room's not ready, great. The hotel will hold them. You can walk right down to the Frankfurt Christmas Market and really get a great use of your afternoon and evening by spending time on the wonderful Frankfurt Christmas Market tour. And the next morning, I would just take a taxi directly from the hotel to the airport. Don't mess with trains. Don't mess with any of that. Taxi to the airport, 20 minutes. On an early morning, you're thinking like around 30 euros. That's the easiest way. For folks who are going to Paris, basically the same thing applies. The only difference is the destination. So I know that for a lot of you going to Paris, Jennifer Kennedy has arranged your tickets and is arranging rooms and things like that. So I don't want to walk on anybody's toes. My role for that will be helping you getting from the ship to Strasbourg train station. And like I said, just send me an email. I always recommend being at the train station a minimum of 30 minutes before your train departs. Trains generally depart on time. If they're a few minutes late, that's fine. They never depart early, but always make sure that you've got a good 30 minutes of cushion in the train station. That gives you time to look at the board, see what track it's on, get yourself a snack for the train, find the track. Many cases for the long distance trains, if they're originating in Strasbourg or Frankfurt, the train will already be at its track 10-15 minutes before their departure, so you can already get into the train. I very, very strongly and highly recommend anyone who's booking a train ticket, make sure you pay that extra 6 or 7 euros and reserve your seat. You do not want to get into a situation where you're on an overfull train and you can't find a place to sit. When you make a seat reservation, it will have the wagon number and the seat number in that wagon. When you get to the train station, when you get to the platform where your train is departing from, I know for with the German trains, they will have a diagram there because the same trains leave from the same tracks every day. And they'll have a diagram of where your wagon number falls on that. The tracks will have A, B, C, D, F hanging along them. That tells you where the cars line up. So let's say you're in wagon 14, seat 60. You look on that chart and it'll show you, oh, wagon 14, that's always at B. So then you go and you stand at the B section of the platform. And, when the train stops, you're generally within a few easy steps of wagon 14. So you can easily get on, find your seat. It's all digital. So as you get onto the train, the seat numbers are digital over the top. With Deutsche Bahn trains, it even says reserved and will say from which station to which station. So it'll say like reserved Strasbourg to Frankfurt. And that's your seat. Or you'll also know as you're getting onto a train, if you don't have a seat reservation and you're looking for a seat, you have to find a seat that doesn't have anything written on it. Sometimes you'll get on a train in its origination point, like Strasbourg, and it won't have a reservation in Strasbourg, but the reservation will say from Mannheim to Frankfurt. So for the stretch from Strasbourg to Mannheim, maybe that seat is free, but somebody's getting on in Mannheim. So do yourself a favor, reserve the ticket. It's just 6 or 7 euros. I like to go in. I like to reserve my seat. I like a table, so I always make sure that I have my spot. You bring your bags right on board. Keep your small bags always where you can see them. If you put something up directly over you, that's fine. Don't walk away from it. Keep your eye on it when people are coming and going. There's not a lot of theft on the ICE high-speed trains, but there is some, and it's usually a smaller bag. Nobody ever messes with the big suitcases. That's too conspicuous, but backpacks tend to disappear. Small computer bags tend to disappear. If you get up to use the restroom, make sure that somebody's watching your bag or bring your important bag with you. So that's my information about coming and going and the cruise. I'm sure some of you might have some individual questions. Please email me, or you can make an appointment with the Contact Dave button on my website. And we will have a Zoom party in November for last minute chats and discussions and questions. I haven't chosen the date yet. I've been traveling nonstop. In fact, I'm here on Explorer Journeys. Gang, we have got to get all of us on Explorer Journeys. It is the nicest cruise line. I can't stop marveling about it. But anyway, I'm get home on the 16th of October. I'm home for 2 weeks before I leave again for another 9-night cruise, November 2nd to the 11th. I'd kind of like to do our Zoom party before that, so it might even be like right before Halloween, but it might also be better to do it when I come back, so somewhere around November 15th. That gives 2 weeks before travel, and that's where you're kind of getting those last minute ideas in your head. I will send an invitation for that. So I hope this was helpful, worth the wait. I had a lot of things to organize, and but now we are just counting the days until we're all together, ho ho hoing. So take care, everyone. Love like we never grew.